All right. Thank you for attending. This is Cultivating Competitive Edge, Unveiling the Power of Data Insights. Your host today is Alec Johnson. Alec Johnson is a solutions engineer, head of industry beer at Ekos, the leading business management software for craft producers. Ekos was just under a year old when Alec joined the team in 2015. As one might imagine, the team was small and the software is still in its early stages of development. Fast forward to the present day, and Alec knows the ins and outs of the software like the back of his hand. This unique asset has helped over 1,500 customers around the world see benefits that Ekos provides to help makers manage their day-to-day operations in inventory, production, sales, and accounting. A University of Iowa graduate and Iowa native, Alec lives in Charlotte, North Carolina area with his wife and two sons. Alec likes to play golf, run, travel, and with his family and visit craft breweries. So no further ado, here's Alec.
Hey, you Oaxaca? Is that what you're called?
Born and raised.
Born and raised? What part?
West Bend, Iowa, North Central.
North Central. Okay, I'm from Muscatine, so right on the Mississippi River.
Oh, see, there's already.
Yeah, there's already.
Stream. Iowa Stream.
Yeah. Hey, at least we're not cyclones, so there we go. Well, yeah, thank you for the introduction. Appreciate everybody coming. Again, small crowd, so we'll keep it loose. Please feel free to interrupt me at any time. Can you all hear me? Fine? Oh, it is perfect. All right, so we'll make this quick and painless. Really just want to talk to you about data. So we're going to try to make data fun.
Does anyone need a beer?
Yeah, if you want a beer, go get one.
You'll take your own one, man.
Yeah.
Cold or anything you got.
That's one to start.
I got one actually. I got one myself. So yeah.
With coffee, if you need a pick-me-up.
Pilsner lager, if you
You wouldn't want this one?
No, we'll take a lager.
All right.
Thank you.
Lagers and pills. Okay.
Let's bring 3 or 4.
That's right. Keep it going.
I got beef Wellington too.
Yeah. Bring the food down. Bring it all. So he gave my bio. Again, I've pretty much done every job within the company. So for those that don't know, Ekos is inventory management software. We do handle the inventory production, sales, and accounting for craft breweries. We also work with wineries, cideries, distilleries, basically any craft product or craft beverage company. I've been with Ekos 9+ years. Actually, on Sunday it will be my 10-year anniversary. So I've been with Ekos longer than I've been with my wife, which is a crazy stat right there. So, and again, if you do have any questions going forward, pretty easy email, alec@goekos.com. I can give you guys a card after if need be. So what we'll touch on today is what is data, different types of data, why that data is important, how to leverage that data, implementing a data strategy, and then getting that edge for your brewery. All right, so just kind of the broad question, what is data? So data can be very overwhelming, and you can ask 100 people what data is, and you'll get 100 different answers. I was talking to my 6-year-old son about data this week before I came up here, and his idea of data is YouTube and Netflix and watching his shows on there. So that's one type of data. What we'll touch on today is obviously gearing it towards breweries. So we're going to touch on raw data, process data, and then big data. So the raw data, that's going to be unprocessed information collected directly from a specific source, whether it's spreadsheets, a software system, whatever it may be. Then you have that process data. So that's going to be information that has been organized, analyzed, or transformed to help it be more useful for you and your team. And then you got big data. So that's going to be large volumes of data that can be analyzed. So that way you're able to reveal patterns, trends, and then associations as well. So these are the 3 that we really see on a day-to-day basis. So we'll really focus on these 8 different data types to track, again, gearing it towards the brewery. So we're going to touch on inventory, production, sales, finance, compliance, operational data, CRM, so your customer relationship management, and then also the reporting and analytics side. All right, so we'll start on the inventory side. So what kind of inventory data is there? There's going to be raw material inventory. So that's going to be your hops, your grains, your malts, basically anything you're bringing in to produce the product. You're going to have your finished good inventory. So that's going to be the kegs, the cans, the bottles, again, whatever you're packaging it into. Your packaging material inventory, so for like your kegs, that's going to be the keg shell, the keg cap, the keg collar, cans, bottles. It's going to be the can or the bottle, the label, the cap, the cork, whatever it may be. And then also your inventory valuation. So knowing what that inventory is costing you from the start. Next, we'll touch on production data. So start with the batch records. So that's going to be anything that you're tracking in the batch process. So your pH, cell count, ABV, any taste, aroma notes that you may have. Brewing schedules. So being able to plan out your batches in advance. So seeing how far in advance you need to plan out so you can ultimately produce that. Your ingredient usage and inventory. So again, planning when you are going to run out of that specific inventory. And then ultimately your production costs. So how much is it costing you to bring in that inventory? And then being able to track the labor, the overhead, any of those non-inventory items that you have. All right. Next, we'll jump into the sales data. So this is going to be your sales orders and inventory. So, oh, I'm good. Thank you. I'll take one for it. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
No, beer.
Beer, yeah. Feed it. So creating those orders, and then being able to see what inventory you have available, so that way you can ultimately fulfill those orders. Customer information and sales history. So what has your customer purchased from you in the past? Maybe it's a certain time of year and they're purchasing certain products for you. Sales by product and category. So are they purchasing the kegs, the cans, the bottles, again, tracking that product and category that they're getting from you. And then your sales channel performance. So are you better in certain areas, certain markets, again, depending on the day, the time, the year, whatever it may be. On the financial side, revenue and expenses. So knowing what it is costing you bringing it in versus what it's costing coming out. Your P&L statement, your profit and loss statement. So again, knowing what it's costing you to make that specific product. Your cost of goods sold. And then your budget versus actual financial performance. So what is the budget that you set? Are you sticking to that based on the specific performances of that product? Everybody's favorite, the compliance data. So your tax filing and reporting, again, TTB reporting, state excise tax. I know everybody loves doing the TTB reports, so just having all that data so you can fulfill those correctly. And then your production and inventory records for the compliance. So again, making sure you have those records so if the government does reach out to you or they want to see that information, they're not breathing down your neck for it. Your CRM data, so your customer relationship management, so customer contact information, so the names, the addresses, information about that specific customer or lead. Your sales interactions, and then follow-ups. So what do they like? What do you want to sell them? What do they want to purchase from you? And then that kind of dovetails into the customer preferences and then purchase history. So you are able to see what they purchased from you in the past, what they prefer, so you can get them what they want. On the operational side, your task management and assignments. So data that's going to help you and your team become more efficient, leading into that production efficiency and downtime. And then your equipment maintenance records, so again, knowing when the maintenance occurred, so that way everything is running smoothly. And then finally, on this part, the reporting and analytics side. So customizable reports and dashboards. So being able to turn that data into reports that you can easily visualize and easily get the information that you need. Your KPIs, so your key performance indicators. So again, reports to track your information better, see them better, however you want. And then be able to see the trends, analysis, and forecasting. So based on that data, seeing if you're trending where you specifically need to be or want to be. All right. So the next part we'll jump into is why tracking data is important. So we're going to break down each of those types that we walk through, why that specific data is important to track. So on the inventory side, being able to accurately track that data on raw materials, your work in progress, and your finished goods, that's ultimately going to help you manage your stock levels, prevent shortages, and then also reduce waste. So again, knowing what you have so you can produce what you need to produce and you don't run out. You obviously don't want to run out. That's going to slow or stop the process. And again, by tracking it, it's going to ensure that you have the right ingredients on hand when needed. So you don't want to have too much of the ingredients or too little of the ingredients. We know it costs money. Your inventory just sitting there, that's money just sitting there. On the production planning side, data is going to help plan and schedule production efficiently, so that way you're ensuring that the brewery operations are going to be run smoothly, and then all products are going to be available when needed. And so again, planning in advance so you know what's coming in, when it's coming in, where you're going to need to reorder more, again, items, ingredients, packaging materials. It's going to help you on the forecasting side so you can forecast that demand and then align production schedules accordingly. So again, seeing what's coming in, what's going out, and being able to break that down by a specific day, week, month, year, however far in advance you want to plan those out. On the cost control side, by tracking data on costs related to your ingredients, your labor, overhead, utilities, you're going to be able to identify areas where you can ultimately save money. So how much is it costing you to make that specific product? You obviously want to make sure you're making a profit on that, and then making sure you're making the particular product that you want. So again, you can ensure that you can keep producing that product. Detailed cost tracking, that's going to help you set competitive pricing while also maintaining profitability. Again, going to tell you if it's profitable to make that certain beer. It can be the best beer in the world, but if you're not making money on it or you're not making enough money on it, may not be in your best interest to continue producing it. Quality control, so data on brewing processes, batch consistency, and then your quality control tests. That's going to ensure that each batch is going to meet the required standards that your team sets. So again, tracking your QA, your QC, it's going to help maintain product quality and then ultimately customer satisfaction. So again, consistency is key. If a customer comes in 3 weeks ago and tastes the product, they probably want to taste the same thing when they come in now. On the sales and distribution side, being able to track your sales data, that's going to help identify trends. You're ultimately able to manage your customer relationships and then optimize distribution. So knowing who is buying what, when they're buying it, how much are they buying. It's going to enable you to understand which products are performing well and then adjust your strategies accordingly. So keep building those relationships with your customers so they know, or you know, what they prefer. On the compliance and reporting side, you're going to have to comply with various regulations, state, federal, that's going to be related to production, safety, taxation. Again, I'll harp on this all day. You want to make sure you stay compliant. You don't want the state or the Fed knocking on your door. So being able to accurately track that data, it's going to ensure that all the necessary reports can be generated and submitted as required. So being able to keep everything in one centralized location, you don't want to have to go through multiple spreadsheets to find specific information. On the business insights, data is going to provide insight into that various aspect of the business, so it's going to help you make informed decisions. So when you make those decisions, you want to make sure that you have all the information to make the correct decision and then make them right. So again, it's going to allow you to have that information so you can make the informed decision. And those data trends, ultimately that can reveal opportunities for growth, areas that need improvement, and also the potential for market shifts. On the CRM side, your customer relationship management, tracking those customer interactions, preferences, and then purchasing behavior. That's going to help build better relationships and then tailor your marketing efforts to meet the customer needs. So being able to track all that information about the customer, about the lead, so you can, again, tailor it, know what they want, when they want it, how they want it. Efficiency and automation. So automation, data collection, and then the analytics. That's going to reduce manual effort, minimize errors, and then also improve overall efficiency. So again, keeping everything in one centralized location, that's going to help you keep everything on track, which will allow your staff to focus more on strategic tasks rather than administrative ones. So again, if it's in multiple locations, it can be easy to get lost. Again, just keeping it in that one location, everything's centralized for you. And finally, on this part, the financial performance. So tracking that financial data, that's going to include your revenue, your expenses, profitability. It's going to provide a clear picture on the brewery's financial health. It's also going to aid in budgeting, financial planning, and then also investment decisions. So it's going to allow you to see where you're at and where you need to be at as well. Any questions so far? Okay. All right. So you have the data, you know why it's important. Next, we're going to talk on how to leverage that data. So on the production efficiency, the three we'll touch on here are going to be inventory management, quality control, and predictive maintenance. So with inventory management, being able to use that data to track your raw materials, your finished goods, that's ultimately going to help you optimize stock levels and then reduce waste. For the quality control, being able to monitor that data from production processes, ultimately to maintain consistent quality. So again, tracking those fermentation logs, conditioning logs, brew logs, getting those metrics such as temperature, fermentation time, pH, CO, whatever it may be. And then predictive maintenance. So using that data from equipment sensors to predict and prevent breakdowns, ensuring that you continue to have smooth operations. So tracking those sanitation logs, maintenance logs as well. Next, on the sales and marketing side, we'll touch on customer insights, targeted marketing, and then also sales forecasting. So on the customer insights, being able to analyze sales data to understand your customer preferences and buying patterns. So you're able to see what your customers are purchasing. That can inform you and inform your team, product development, and then marketing strategies as well. Targeted marketing, so using that data to segment customers and then tailor those marketing campaigns to different demographics or behaviors. So again, if it's based on region, location, purchasing history. Kind of an example I see there is I travel all throughout the country going to these different shows. So what may work in New York, it may be different in Arizona versus Florida versus Washington, and again, versus the time of the year. And ultimately, the sales forecasting, so utilizing historical data to predict future trends and also plan production and inventory accordingly. Now, in financial management, we'll touch on cost analysis and profit margins. So with cost analysis, you're able to track expenses related to your ingredients, labor, overhead, and then you're able to analyze that data to help you identify cost-saving opportunities. Now, most people, you are able to track this obviously within inventory software, but on that financial part, those labors and overheads, you may want to talk to your accountant first and just kind of see if they want it tied to the batch process or if they want to keep it separated. It's really on a case-by-case basis, what we see. And then on profit margins, being able to evaluate the profitability of different products and then ultimately identify the most and least profitable lines. I know I mentioned this earlier, but again, it can be the best beer in the world. You'll drink it all day, but if it's not making you any money, you may need to tweak it so you can either make money on it or just produce something else that's going to make you money. On the customer relationship management side, we have loyalty programs and then feedback analysis. So with loyalty programs, being able to implement data-driven loyalty programs to reward repeat customers and also increase retention. So I always preface this by saying you obviously want to check by your state because each state has different laws on what you can do, whether it's a happy hour or if you buy X, you get Y free. Again, you want to track that within your state. And the states that do allow it, you are able to do that within your point of sale system. So if you use like a GoTab, a Square, a Toast, a Arrived, whatever it may be. And also on the feedback analysis side, being able to collect and analyze customer feedback so you are able to improve products and services. So seeing what the customer wants, when you're making site visits, calls, doing tastings, and getting that data back from them so you can incorporate it into the feedback. Supply chain optimization, so you have your supplier performance and then demand planning. So supplier performance, being able to track and evaluate that performance based on delivery times, quality, cost. So again, knowing what your customers are purchasing will allow you to plan ahead. And then on that demand planning, using the sales and market data so you can predict the demand and then ultimately plan that supply chain accordingly. So that's where planning out your batches in advance is going to help out so you know what you're planning on selling. And then the regulatory compliance, so your traceability and then reporting. So again, traceability, being able to maintain accurate records of all ingredients and batches. So that way you're able to ensure traceability and then compliance with the regulatory. So again, keeping in line with the government. And then the reporting, using that data to streamline the preparation of those reports for the governments. And finally, the innovation and development. So you have your R&D and your pilot testing. So with the R&D, leverage that data from the market research and customer feedback to drive innovation in your product development. We all got into craft beer because it's fun, so you want to try new things, keep being creative. And then on the pilot testing, use that data to analyze the outcome of those pilot tests for new products or processes. Example I always give is Alec up in Portland, Maine. They have, I believe it's either a 1 barrel or a real small system that they let their employees brew a test batch every week or every month. We have an employee at Ekos, he used to work at Alec, and one of the beers he did became kind of a seasonal. So it's a cool way to keep everybody involved. All right, so implementing that data strategy. So we'll touch on the 5 tools you want to do to implement it. So the data collection, data integration, your analytics tools, training, and then the continuous improvement there. So with the data collection, being able to establish systems for capturing that data at every stage of the production and sales process. So from receiving in your raw ingredients, to planning the batches, to producing the batches, to ultimately selling the finished goods from those batches, and then kind of doing the circle all over. So getting all that data into one centralized location, that's going to help you on the ease of use side. With the data integration, so ensuring all your data sources are integrated into a central system, so that way you have comprehensive analysis for that. So making sure the systems talk to each other. So if it's your point of sale, talking to your inventory software, talking to your accounting software, getting everything in one centralized location. The analytics tools, so invest in an analytics software that can process and visualize that data for you efficiently. And then once you do invest in that, the training and then continuous improvement. So you want to make sure the staff is trained on the importance of the data and how to use those tools. So the system can be the best system in the world, but if the data going into it is off, then it's just going to spit out bad data for you. The old adage, garbage in, garbage out. You want to make sure the data you input is going to be good data. And then on that, once the staff's been trained up, you want to make sure they're continuously improving. So making sure you review and refine your data strategy based on insights, and then ultimately the changing business needs that you and your team may have. All right, so we have all the data information, so getting that edge for your brewery. So by leveraging your robust data tracking capabilities of a system like Ekos, you're able to transform that raw data into actionable insights, driving your brewery success, and then ultimately giving you a significant edge in that competitive market. So with operational efficiencies, 3 we'll touch on are going to be inventory management, production planning, cost management. So again, with those, we're going to help you keep precise track of your raw materials, ensuring that you do have the right amount of inventory at the right time. That's going to minimize waste and also reduce the risk of running out of key ingredients. Your production planning. So by tracking your production data, you're going to optimize your brewery schedules, reduce the downtime, and then ultimately ensure consistent quality in every batch. Again, inventory keeps the ship moving. You want to make sure you have all that on stock or in stock and then track your production in advance. And that dovetails into the cost management. So detailed data on production costs. That's going to include your ingredients, your labor, overhead. That's going to allow you to identify cost-saving opportunities and then manage your budget more efficiently. Better decision making. So you're going to have your data-driven insights, performance metrics, and then forecasting. So with your data-driven insights, we're going to provide insights into your sales trends, customer preferences, market demands. Ultimately, that's going to help you make informed decisions about what product development and your marketing strategies. Again, make the decisions based on the data that has been inputted. Your performance metrics is going to track your KPIs such as sales volume, profit margin, production efficiency, ultimately helping you make and measure success, and then also identify areas that may need improvement. And on the forecasting side, predictive analytics, that's going to help you anticipate future trends and then adjust your business strategy accordingly, ensuring that you do stay ahead of your competition. The enhanced customer satisfaction, so your order management, quality control, feedback integration. So with your order management, you're going to be able to efficiently track your customer orders and preferences. Ultimately, that's going to allow you to provide a more personalized and timely service, improving your customer satisfaction and loyalty. Again, you want to make sure the customers are happy so they keep ordering from you. Consistent quality control, that's going to help you maintain the high standards of your product, ensuring that your customers receive the same great taste every time. And on the feedback side, by integrating customer feedback into your data tracking system, it's going to quickly address issues that may occur and then ultimately improve your offerings based on real customer experience. On the compliance side, we have our traceability and then the reporting. So again, we're going to provide detailed records of your production process, which is going to be essential for traceability, and then compliance within the industry regulations. And what you'll be able to do, you'll be able to drill down into those numbers so you can see where they came from. And then on reporting, it's going to streamline all your reporting, so it's going to make it easier to prepare for audits, comply with local and federal regulations, ultimately saving you time and then reducing the risk of non-compliance penalties. And then finally, the market competitiveness. So we'll touch on benchmarking and scalability. So with benchmarking, you're able to compare your performance against industry benchmarks, helping you understand where you stand relative to your competitors and identify best practices to adapt. So everybody knows it's a wild market out there. You want to make sure you put yourself in the best foot forward. And then finally, scalability. So as your business grows, we're going to scale with you, providing you the tools and the data that you need to manage increased production and then your sales volume efficiently as well. All right. Told you I'd keep it short and sweet for you, so any questions? Yeah.
Yeah. So we had Ekos, but I'm actually new to the operations side of managing that software.
Yeah.
And it's basically a redundancy for us now. Like everything we keep is pretty much spreadsheets.
Okay.
The only thing that's even honestly almost accurately tracked in Ekos is packaged kegs, basically.
Okay.
I guess my question is there like a factory reset I can do on our data? We have so many old SKUs, we have old factory locations.
Yeah.
Like I would love to just start over.
We can do that. We call it for new customers, we call it go live, but we can do it for existing as long as like you and the team are fine with, hey, we're gonna essentially reset it and you're gonna start from scratch.
Okay.
I mean, you'll still have the past history in there, but like clean out all old products or old items you don't use.
Factory locations would be.
Yeah.
Because I tried to do that, but they said that was an issue they couldn't do, and they suggested like labeling it as something don't use and.
We can set it up and essentially, for lack of a better word, like just reset everything.
Yeah.
So I'll give you my card after and reach out. Yeah.
So does this start, do you have like a point of sale system also? Is that?
We don't, but we integrate with point of sale systems.
So that's kind of, so what type of data, I mean, how would you pull our point of sale data?
Yeah, so who do you use currently? Clover, okay. So unfortunately, we don't have a direct integration with Clover, yeah. But what we do, we would treat the tap room as a customer within Ekos. So you're still able to see what you've sold to the tap room. It just doesn't break it down by like pint sale or by, like it doesn't tell you when it was. So if you move a keg into the tap room, it's gonna consider that whole keg sold. If you move a 6-pack into the tap room, it's gonna consider that whole 6-pack sold. Even though you may not, the keg may not kick for another week, or that 6-pack may not sell for another day. So you're still keeping up with all your tax compliance. You're just essentially getting ahead of the source.
Yeah, not too worried about it. I mean, when you're small enough,
Yeah.
they don't really worry about taxes as much.
Sure. Yeah.
No, I was just kind of curious to how that tied in.
Yeah. So we do have integrations with Square, Arrived, and GoTab. So that data, let's say you would use one of those, all the sales that occur sync directly into Ekos, and then we'll deplete it as it actually happens.
Process that data and be able to.
Yeah, correct.
I know that.
Clover's on our list though, so.
Any advice for easily tracking, so like kegs sold to tap room that end up needing to be transferred to wholesale? Any advice for tracking that?
Yeah, so I would create a location within your tap room called tap room storage. So that's going to allocate it for your tap room, but it technically hasn't been sold to your tap room. And then that way you can easily move it out on like the facility view. You can drag and drop it out, or again.
So just based off the brew schedule, just allocate.
Exactly.
So,
Yep, exactly. Does that happen a lot?
Yeah,
Okay.
all the time.
All the time? Okay. Yep. Any other questions?
No.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate y'all coming. Yeah, we'll get you out, and you guys can 4:30, not too bad. So.